I have been a toy collector since my youth, and since then I have almost exclusively focused on comic book and comic book movie toys. One of my favorite franchises and lines is the X-Men. I loved the 90s cartoon and I am a fan of the Fox film franchise. I think it's an excellent example on how to adapt material from one source to another. However, a few years ago I started to notice a trend when it came to movie toys tied into the X-Men films. Hasbro stopped releasing them. I hadn't seen anybody talk about this, and I don't like to participate in forums, so I wasn't actively searching for this topic. But recently I saw this article on comicbookmovie.com about Rob Liefeld's thoughts on the apparent shutout of Fox by Disney, and his theory was that Disney was preventing Hasbro from releasing X-Men toys tied into the Fox films to hurt their revenue. This was the first time I had heard anyone speak publicly about this, and in case you don't know, Rob Liefeld is a comic book artist-writer who became prominent working on X-Men books for Marvel. After seeing this article, I decided to do a little research and try to find more information on this apparent shutout, and this is what I found. I'm going to take you back a few years now, before Disney ever bought Marvel. For those of you too young to remember, Toy Biz was the merged toy division of Marvel Entertainment. They became a major producer of Marvel character toys in 1993 when Toy Biz made an unusual move by getting an exclusive, perpetual, royalty-free license to Marvel characters for 46% of Toy Biz equity. In addition to releasing comic book figures, Toy Biz also released figures based on the look of the characters as they appear in Marvel movies. There was Blade, the Punisher, Daredevil, Hulk, Spider-Man, and yes, the X-Men. In 2005, Toy Biz released what became their last line of Marvel figures with X-Men Classics. This was a line of 6-inch, highly articulated Marvel Legends style figures, and it lasted 4 waves. Marvel Entertainment, no longer being able to afford in-house manufacturers, terminated its licensing agreement with Toy Biz on December 31st, 2005. On January 9, 2006, Marvel granted Hasbro a 5-year toy and game license to develop products based on Marvel's universe, starting on January 1st, 2007. The agreement covered both the classic comic book look of the characters, as well as product lines inspired by Marvel-themed movies. The license also guaranteed Marvel $205 million in royalty and service fee payments, of which $70 million were to be paid on the theatrical release of Spider-Man 3, and $35 million would have been paid upon the theatrical release of Spider-Man 4, which never happened. In addition, the license was extendable past the 5-year term, dependent on the number of other entertainment properties released during that time frame. Hasbro quickly got to work, and in 2007 they released toys for Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, Fox, Spider-Man 3, Sony, Ghost Rider, Columbia Pictures, and X-Men 3, Fox, through the Marvel Legends line. In 2008, Marvel, now producing their own films, released Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk, with Hasbro releasing tie-in products for both films. On February 17, 2009, Hasbro extended their deal with Marvel until 2017 and kept the rights to make video games and toys based on Marvel's superhero movies and brands. This represented an extension on the then current deal, which was set to run through 2011. The extension agreement guaranteed $100 million in royalties with the potential of up to an additional $140 million, provided that the games and other products come out close to the associated films and satisfy certain criteria. Hasbro's next wave of products based on Marvel characters was to come out that same year with the release of X-Men Origins Wolverine, a Fox film, and the company was already making plans around upcoming film releases like Iron Man 2, Captain America: The First Avenger, and The Avengers in 2012. In effect, in 2009, Hasbro launched a line of products based on the release of the movie X-Men Origins Wolverine. This line would turn out to be, to this date, the last Hasbro line tied to an X-Men film. Soon after that, everything changed, because on August 31st, 2009, the Walt Disney Company announced a deal to acquire Marvel Entertainment for $4.24 billion. At the time of the announcement, the Reuters news agency wrote a piece about the deal, in which they concluded that Hasbro was likely to end up as one of the biggest losers of the agreement, because not only they would lose out on a rich source of content for their then new TV channel, but they would also face much tougher licensing negotiations in the long term with Disney. If you remember, Hasbro's agreement with Marvel to make toys and games extended through 2017. But what would happen thereafter was a question mark, especially since Disney had a longer history with Hasbro's arch rival, Mattel. Mattel already had deals with Disney for Cars, Toy Story, Disney Princesses, Mickey Mouse, and Winnie the Pooh, just to name a few, and they declined to comment on the deal back then. Disney's chief financial officer, Tom Staggs, however, had this to say: "As many of these deals conclude over time, we will have the flexibility to either bring them in-house or pursue third-party licensing agreements depending on how we feel we can create the most value." But Disney is known to drive top deals, so after they took over Marvel, Mattel and Hasbro likely were going to face tricky licensing negotiations in the future. They were about to get screwed, on one side from the retailers and on the other side from Disney. In 2011, Hasbro, still under the old deal, and probably in an effort not to pick up a fight with Disney, passed on the opportunity to release any products tied into the Fox film X-Men First Class. Hasbro did release a number of X-Men First Class themed products, but none of them were actually based on characters in the movie. Instead, they all focused on X-Men comic book characters. And then the last blow was dealt. On October 30th, 2012, Disney bought Lucasfilm for $4 billion. Hasbro had the rights to the Star Wars universe, and now they would have to renegotiate that deal with Disney as well. On May 23, 2013, Disney and Fox quarreled publicly and for the first time over the movie rights of Marvel characters, more specifically Quicksilver. You see, Bryan Singer wanted to include the character on his next film, X-Men Days of Future Past, but Joss Whedon was planning to do the same on Avengers 2. You may have thought at the time that Disney was going to destroy Fox over this, but Fox is no pushover either. In June 2014, 21st Century Fox made a bid to acquire Time Warner for $80 billion in a cash-in stock deal. Time Warner owns DC Comics and Warner Brothers, amongst many other subsidiaries. They finally worked out an arrangement in which Marvel Studios could not refer to the character as a mutant and couldn't mention Magneto at all, and Fox couldn't make any reference to the Avengers in their film. The month of July 2013 proved to be a key moment for all parties. Disney and Hasbro sat down to renegotiate their deal and reached an agreement on July 22nd, only 6 days after the release of the Fox film The Wolverine. The amendment extended Hasbro's global rights to Marvel characters for an additional 2 years running through 2020. Following the acquisition of Lucasfilm by Disney, the two companies sought to align the terms of both the Marvel and Lucasfilm agreements. The Marvel extension is in line with the term for Hasbro's rights for the Star Wars franchise, which now also runs through 2020. Both agreements cover entertainment, including all film and television properties for the respective franchises. In accordance with the extended term of the Marvel agreement, Hasbro guaranteed an additional $80 million in royalties to Disney with respect to Marvel-branded products, contingent on additional Marvel theatrical releases. No movies means no toys and no money for anyone. Additionally, in the anticipation of the next 3 Star Wars sequel motion pictures and the release of other potential Star Wars-related entertainment, which were not contemplated under the previous agreement, Hasbro will pay up to $225 million in guaranteed payments to Disney. 75 were paid on signing, and the remainder is due in accordance with the planned releases of the new Star Wars films. So what happened with the release of The Wolverine? Hasbro did exactly what they did with X-Men First Class. They created a comic book-based line called simply Wolverine to try to cash in on the renewed popularity of the character, but not directly attached to the film, nor paying rights to Fox for promotional material. You must understand that for the mass market that drives these lines, these characters don't exist 24/7. They come to their attention with big multimedia events such as new television series or films. As you have seen, all the Hasbro Marvel deals rely heavily on the release of future films. Let's take a look at 2014, the current year. On 2014, Fox was set to release X-Men Days of Future Past, and on January 17th, Hasbro announced the all-new X-Men box set, a Toys R Us exclusive with the classic X-Men characters as they appeared in the first incarnation of the comic book. Later, on April 25-27, at C2E2, Diamond Select teased a Mystique figure based on her appearance on the new X-Men film. Days of Future Past was eventually released in the US on May 23, 2014, and Hasbro did not offer any toys based on the movie. Instead, they announced a Marvel Infinite Series X-Men comic book line. At this year's San Diego Comic-Con, PixelDan the reviewer interviewed the Hasbro Marvel team and mentioned that he had seen toys for The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Winter Soldier, but he hadn't seen anything for X-Men Days of Future Past. Their answer, after an uncomfortable smile and pause, was that they had a new line, not movie-based, which was the Infinite Series X-Men comic book line. The link to his full interview is below. On August 11, 2014, ToyArt confirmed that Diamond Select had cancelled their Mystique figure. DST Chuck wrote on his blog, "We will not be doing any figures from Days of Future Past, and as of now, we have no plans to do any figures from Apocalypse. Sorry." So the question is, why would Hasbro, a company whose net revenue has gone down for the last 3 years and not looking good for 2014, would pass on the opportunity to cash in on a Marvel theatrical release when their deals with Disney are so dependent on said films being released? Film releases are great business opportunities for toy manufacturers. They have all sorts of deals and conditions to make sure that the toy lines hit the market close to the release date of the films. This is when the market is hot. The studios have already spent hundreds of millions of dollars promoting these characters and these movies, and Hasbro doesn't want a piece of that? All this time I have been wondering, why do they do it? Is it simply to keep Disney happy and make sure they don't take their brands elsewhere? Well, it's not just that. Disney is moving their doll business from Mattel to Hasbro in 2016. I made this video just to put it out there for you guys to debate, to find more information. However, as a toy collector, I find it very frustrating that our selection of toys and characters is being decided by pretty lawyers and VPs. I'm not at all surprised by these findings, and I understand that in the spirit of gaining market share and surviving in today's economy, companies make decisions that, if they were made public, would not be very popular with their customers. But my understanding of the shrewd business world is still not solace for us missing out on X-Men movie toys. So there it is, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, take care.